G-rated. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of From the Middle. As you know, we're middle-class guys in middle America with opinions that fall somewhere in the middle. But some things we just hold in higher esteem, especially when it comes to our coffee. Here at From the Middle, our coffee is generously provided by Backroom Coffee Roasters. A local small batch roaster, Backroom is run by people who love to tinker, whether it's perfecting their next bean, working on their bikes, or dabbling in the woodshed. We like them because Backroom Coffee Roasters is a middle America company run by some middle-class guys who just happen to make some first-class coffee. Head on over to their website, use the promo code MIDDLER, show them a little love, and by proxy, us as well. How you guys doing?
Great.
Fantastic.
Good. You guys had some Backroom coffee today?
Yep, sure did.
Yes.
Just finished my second cup.
Indeed, had some today, and I had some last week for that episode too.
Yeah.
Which was roasts? A totally different time and space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which roasts are you drinking?
We did the biker blend.
Biker blend. Ooh, their most popular.
Signature.
Mm-hmm.
Signature blend.
Signature
blend.
If you're just joining us for some reason and you don't know who we are or why we're doing this or what was the inspiration for this podcast in general, we just try to keep sort of a centrist view on life. You know, the big crazy world out there is increasingly polarized. People be fighting.
Crazies. There's a lot of crazies out there.
A lot of crazies. We've lost the art of civil discourse.
Lost it.
People are just...
They're so mean. People are mean.
Hurtful to one another. And so we thought, let's start a podcast. We're just average Joes. We're in the middle of Ohio, which is in the middle of the country. And our opinions fall somewhere in the middle. Let's just start a conversational little podcast where we bring back the art of civil discourse, where we talk about stuff, where we take different sides, where we're open-minded. Why am I doing this?
Episode 1 would also be a fine place to start.
Yeah.
If you're catching us now.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is... That's what the point is this. This is the point.
We've been waiting. Okay,
is this. We just want to talk to you guys.
It's really just coffee in the cups, if you're wondering.
And so here we are, 29 episodes later.
Episode 29.
Sometimes we've had really thoughtful discussion. Sometimes we've had really silly discussion. Sometimes we've had really geeky discussion. Sometimes... Spoiler alert, our episodes have been a little more boring than others. Is that safe to say?
Is this like in school where you had to write a 10-page paper and you only had 7 pages worth?
I'm saying...
And you had to find a way to get 3 more pages?
I'm saying if they're just now starting with 29...
Yeah.
And they're like, who are these guys?
Uh-huh.
What's this about?
Right.
I don't want to necessarily have to go back to episode 1 when they hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah. This is why you're not supposed to use triple spacing.
Because now we have it all figured out.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway.
There's no filler, all killer, as they say.
Okay, so that was a bad idea.
Near Sum 41.
Did they say that?
They say Sum 41 said that they had an album.
Are they still around?
That was I hope not. Good night.
Was that the song In Too Deep? Was that them?
Maybe. I don't know.
Because I'm in too deep.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Was that them? I'll look it up.
I think so.
Anyway, so that's who we are. That's what we're all
about. 41.
That's what we're all about. I'm Corey Hubble. That's Kendall Ayala. And this is my brother Dylan Hubble. We're brothers.
D-Hub.
We're spiritually brothers, but not.
Yeah, that's a song. In Too Deep, all killer, no filler.
No, it was off that album.
Off that album.
Look at that.
So you also learn stuff when you listen to us.
That was like the pop-up video. And that fact came up.
Yes.
And if you don't know what that is, go to YouTube.
Wow.
And search pop-up video. That as soon as I said it, I realized how old that reference was.
We are very content forward.
Pop-up video.
VH1. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving, or as Kendall likes to call it, practice Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas presents. Christmas presents.
Christmas practice.
Well, I think that's different. I think that's a different thing.
Did any of you go out for Black Friday?
I'm not into that.
Let us know.
Oh, goodness.
I'm not into that kind of
Did you
thing.
get yourself as Dylan pointed out, some TVs are crappy and made only for Black Friday. Did you get yourself a crappy TV?
That is true. If you got some spoils of war on Black Friday, take a picture and share it with us on social media. We'd love to see what you got. And even though it might not be for us, we are excited that you are excited.
Yeah. So, and then
I feel like my mom talking to me when I'm 4 and I'm annoying her. Oh, honey, I'm so excited you're excited.
got that today, bro. Anyway,
that was like talking to one of the episodes a couple back. We talked about telling our wives things about our video game worlds. Going, you're not going to care about this at all, but I just need you to be excited for me.
30 under par. That's you kidding me for one day? That's better than Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
I am better than Tiger Woods.
I didn't tell you that story, by the way. So that episode was the first one that we recorded with video, not just audio.
Right.
And we put that on YouTube. And so
27.
27. So my wife decided, instead of, she hadn't had a chance to listen to the episode yet.
Sure.
So we're like, well, you can watch it on YouTube now because you can actually see the video. So she was, and we had just finished talking about how, like sometimes you have to give oh, hey, Dylan, can you do something? No, I need like 3.5 minutes or whatever. That whole part of the discussion when you're trying to do something in a game that's time sensitive, but somebody needs something from you. So that literally had just happened on our TV screen on YouTube.
Yeah.
And my wife leans over on the couch, like, I want to show you something. And I went, oh, I'm going to need about 3.5 minutes. And she's like, you just did it to me again. I'm so sorry.
It's part of why we did the episode.
I wanted you to understand I'm not the only weird one. Kendall and Corey are too.
There's 3 of us.
There's 3 of us. I watch wrestling too.
That's funny.
Yeah, we do.
So anyways, I thought that was kind of amusing. But amazing. Byproduct of us now putting our episodes on YouTube for you to watch. So if you're not, you should go to YouTube. Everyone's done this a million times with Blippi and all the other kid shows.
What?
Go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, all those things. I don't know how all of it works. You've never watched, your kids are too old to watch Blippi.
Yep.
Yeah.
You kids watch Blippi?
He's the most annoying individual in the whole world.
There's worse. I've seen worse.
No, there's not.
I've seen worse
You're
kid
wrong.
shows.
There's worse.
So if you haven't seen
worse.
Blippi, he taught me how to spell his name in his show. It's Blippi. Go watch Blippi on YouTube.
Is he a human or a cartoon character?
He's a human.
Yeah, he has an outfit.
Who's trying to be a cartoon
like a blue and orange outfit. And he's an eccentric, childlike adult who is trying to teach kids about
he's creepy
things.
is what he is.
A little bit.
He's
and
very
if you know some of his backstory, he's actually creepy a little bit.
Oh, really?
I won't get into it. It's a little weird, but yeah, look him up.
I am going to look that up now.
Look him up on Wikipedia first, then get the backstory. Then you decide how much searching you want to do for Blippi. But
guys, he takes you on a journey to learn colors and numbers
Of course.
at the play place.
my daughter loves his videos. He's got a very excited kitty type voice as an adult.
This says Blippi will also teach you about LAPD helicopters.
Yeah, he does.
He does all kinds of. He does touch truck stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, he does a lot. Yeah,
he does a lot of touring random playgrounds and whatever indoor play parks and stuff.
Yeah, lots of that, bakeries, stuff like that.
Stuff
museums.
that kids like to watch, and it's super annoying.
Is he more annoying than Caillou?
He goes. It's a good question.
So all of you parents with kids, let us know what the most annoying videos are that you have to watch.
There's a whole internet thing that says that Caillou is by far the worst. That whining voice.
I can't stand that voice.
There's like a whole thing about it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I will sometimes have thoughts and then independent thoughts and then realize like it's a whole internet thing. Mm-hmm. And So, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
There's this thing that happens in logo design sometimes, especially when you're doing very simple shapes, like the Beats logo, making a B out of a circle and a stick, right? Like a And there's been like lawsuits, and there's this concept. I don't remember the exact term, but there's this concept that it's like these two people just happen to have come up with the same thing around the same time.
Yeah.
So sometimes I will have thoughts, and then like there's this whole subculture already on typically Reddit or 4chan about it already. Something that happened to me the other week, driving back from Cincinnati after a 4-day work trip. It's like 8 p.m. and I just had a hankering for a Jamocha shake from Arby's. So I'm on 71 North from Cincinnati.
Those are real good, by the way.
Real good, Clark. I'm on 71 North. It's dark. I've just been driving for probably an hour and a half already. I've got a half hour to go, and I'm like, you know what would round off this trip nicely while I'm driving and listening to a podcast? A Jamaican shake from Arby's. So I get off the exit. Of course, it's not conveniently off the exit. You got to kind of wrap around this mall area and then wrap around this other parking lot and then get in line at the Arby's. And I get to the thing, and I'm like, medium Jamocha shake, please. And they're like, our shake machine's down. So here's my question. Are shake machines breaking as much as fast food restaurants are telling us they are? Or are they cleaning them early to get done with their cleaning for the night? And or they just don't want to have to clean them, so they just never use them?
Bingo.
And then I say that to you guys in the group chat, and Dylan's like, yeah, it's a whole thing online about like shake machines.
Apparently, I don't know. I've not lived it. Apparently, they're super hard to clean. And so I'm guessing either they don't clean them and they do break, or once they've cleaned them, they really don't want to have to clean it again.
I worked at Arby's for years in Bluffton, Ohio. And they're not easy to clean, but they're not, I mean, it's not crazy challenging. I think you're just cleaning them early. People, they're done with their shift. These are high turnover jobs, typically. They just want to be done. And so they'll do it a couple hours early. And they know that the loss that they're going to take on not making 7 shakes for the rest of the night is better in their minds than having to clean it at the very end of the night.
If that's the case, the people who are making the decision to not clean it and just tell people it's broken don't care about the loss. The people who would care about the loss are probably telling them, you leave that shake machine operational until you close.
Until we close.
Yeah. But that's also my guess. I think that's what's happening is that.
And if they are breaking that much, somebody make a better shake machine.
Why does Dairy Queen have a problem?
Statistically, those machines break 1 billion times more often than literally every other thing that they use. Because nobody has ever gone to McDonald's and said, our coffee pot is broken.
Exactly.
We can't make you
sorry, the burger machine's down.
We can't make you a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Or the fryer is down. We can't get you French fries.
I would love to know the Midler's thoughts on this. Have you worked in fast food? Do you know your way around a shake machine? You might have a very lucrative career in shake machine repair.
Yeah.
I'm highly suspicious that they're not broken as much as we're being told they're broken. Now,
yeah. I mean, I think that that if that's the case, I mean, there's no chance that McD's hasn't gotten a hold of the technology that Dairy Queen has going on in their place, right?
Right.
Why is your soft serve machine always breaking and theirs is always fine?
Is it because McDonald's has one and maybe the ice cream place has like 4 of them?
I don't know. I still think McDonald's would figure that out.
You'd think so. They could probably buy DQ like 20 times.
Exactly.
So I got back on I-71 North to round out the story. I got off at the very next exit and went to Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
And got a chocolate banana side by side.
After you waited 47 minutes in line.
Yeah. What's with that too? So anyway,
literally the worst way to describe Steak and Shake is fast food restaurant.
So I got the shake. It wasn't the shake I wanted, but I got a shake. It was a chocolate banana side by side. Not as good as the Jamocha shake. But I knew, well, it's part of their name. So their machine's probably working.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. First world problems. My life is really hard, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it sounds like probably the worst life that I've heard.
It's a really hard life, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's one of my updates.
Your updates. Hey, did anybody watch that football game this past Saturday?
Boy, that was crazy, wasn't
That
it?
was, hey, this is take one. Jim Harbaugh is a freaking genius. Take two. What the hell, Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah.
Now we have them both covered.
I am completely surprised and not surprised by the outcome of that game.
I can't believe they did or did not cover the spread.
Yes. If this player had played better, I think the outcome might have been different.
Well, it was clear the team that scored the most points won the game.
That is certainly true.
That's true.
You know what else? And I'm going out on a limb and saying this, but if between Ohio State's offense and defense, I figure there's at least 22 players who deserve to go to New York for a Heisman Trophy ceremony. And if they're not invited, then it's just further evidence that everyone hates OSU and it's us against the world.
And can you believe the flags that they might or might not have thrown that potentially could have or could have not changed the outcome of the game?
Man, it's like for a whole year we're going to be talking about what happened.
Yeah. And how about that Baker Mayfield planting the flag at the thing, because for some reason we're still worried about that.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
So anyway,
That does still bother me a little bit, though.
I know it does.
He wasn't wrong to have done it,
I know it was.
but it does still bother me.
know.
Remember,
They're
he's a pot stirrer.
They still talking about it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're still talking about it today. He's right up there in Cleveland. Go get him.
If you can't tell by that little exchange, the game hasn't happened yet in real life.
Corey.
So we're covering our
record
bases.
These live.
As your ear holes receive them,
We record
and eye holes now.
exactly. So if your eye holes and ear holes are watching and listening to this right now, it means we are right now in the recording studio.
Whenever you're listening.
Live streaming to all major platforms.
It's happening.
Simultaneously.
It's happening right now, guys.
What else is going on?
So, but yeah, no, we record all these. They're not. Hey, did you guys hear that Apple? I've heard rumor, and I don't think it. I feel like the market is so incredibly saturated, but Apple is thinking about coming out with a cell phone.
You know who should buy that phone?
Did you guys hear about that news?
Nopers.
Crazy.
So, we don't pre-record any of this stuff.
Totally not. One fun thing that we actually went and did that did happen. So if you're not from the Columbus area, you might not know of this place. You can look it up. But if you are, we went to Franklin Park Conservatory.
Mm-hmm.
And for a really long time, there's been the Chihuly exhibit, which is the blown glass exhibits. And what makes the Chihuly exhibits, I'm not an expert, but you might know more, is the size and detail work of these exhibits are what make it especially impressive.
Yes. You can see his artwork all over the world in hotels and restaurants. And Dale Chihuly is the artist.
Yeah.
And glass blower, very colorful, a lot of floral kind of things. Very, very cool to behold. There's a big exhibit in the Bellagio in Vegas, for example, among countless other, that I can't think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. So props to my wife for finding out that Franklin Park Conservatory, and it's still doing this, it's called Chihuly Nights. So they have some of these glass exhibits outdoors, and they're all lit up around with Christmas lights and things around it. There's this giant, big, fun outdoor light up pads that you can walk on, and they light up in different colors. And it's really fun if you go at night. We took our daughter, and it was really pretty. I mean, Franklin Park Conservatory is always a nice stop, but it gets really... It's kind of hidden when you're thinking about Columbus or Central Ohio and things to do with lights. You think Columbus Zoo,
Yeah.
because the zoo lights are massive.
You're right.
But it was a really nice alternative. We had a great time. The weather was fairly complimentary. They had even I didn't partake myself, but they had a little trailer for like food and drinks. They had like hot chocolate and then hot chocolate for adults. If they wanted like a splash of something thrown in there. And so it was really nice. It was a good time. And my wife actually asked me when we were leaving, not that it's a competition, you can go to both, but she was like, would you rather do this or the zoo lights? And I said, I'd probably just want to rotate them. Maybe take a year off in between, because sometimes you can get a little overloaded on those kind of trips.
Yeah.
But I said, maybe take a year off, go to one, take a year off, go to the other, if they keep doing it, because there was like almost nobody there.
Yeah.
Which made it, the zoo lights are great, but it's packed.
Sure,
I mean, for anybody that's been to zoo lights,
it's a zoo.
It's a zoo. Yes, it is. Oh, jeez. Don't laugh at him on that one. But it was a really nice time. And so if you haven't seen it, that's a really fun way to do it, especially with kids. There's Christmas lights. It's indoor. It's outdoor. You get access to the whole thing. Everything's lit up. It's a lot of fun. So I would definitely recommend it. Still at this point, if you're looking for a fun Christmassy type thing to do. And then obviously you're downtown. Now we popped over to Easton from Franklin Park so we could go to Shake Shack after... because
was their machine working?
It was, yeah. Bree had a sugar cookie milkshake. Ooh. And we got burgers and fries and all that stuff. But yeah, it was a really nice time. So if you needed some kind of Christmassy entertainment, now that we're past Thanksgiving and you can enjoy that kind of thing, check it out.
Another good one is the Dragon Lights Festival, the Chinese Lantern Festival at the fairgrounds in Columbus. We've done that for the last 2 years. And they make these huge, elaborate wireframe sculptures wrapped in this material, and then lights inside the object. So dragons and animals and creatures. And you walk through the fairgrounds, and there's a different theme in each area. It's all outside, but they do hot cocoa, and then you walk through one park, and it's all authentic Chinese cuisine. And so that's another really good one, too, if you want to do something and avoid some of the crowds that are at the wild lights at the zoo.
Because it's a zoo there.
It's pretty wild.
It's wild.
Well, that's good. I saw the pictures. It looked like you guys had a really good time.
It was, yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Did little Finn like it, or was she just...
She overall had a nice time. I think she doesn't use many words. But
she didn't say.
The little light up pads, though, she did have a lot of fun. Like,
yeah.
She's so small. She had to there's barely any room between these tiles, but she had to step down and then use her hands to get up on the next one.
Yeah.
And she's trying to set it off by jumping on it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Father, this experience has been exquisite.
Yeah, it's basically what she said. It's the abbreviated version, but. Speaking of Christmas, we were talking the other day at work about favorite Christmas movies, and I realize sometimes how much younger some of my peers are, because this answer isn't wrong, but it was a little surprising. Somebody said, "What's your favorite Christmas movie?" And they said The Santa Claus. They're like, clearly The Santa Claus is the best Christmas movie. And I sort of went,
you're wrong.
If you weren't old enough to have seen better Christmas movies, then yes, that might be one of the best Christmas movies. It is a good movie, but if you're going to pick a newer one, Elf would be one that would be easier to argue. That was instant fan favorite. And so I'm like, clearly the right answer is Christmas Vacation.
Yes, it is.
It's clearly the right answer for the best Christmas movie.
Yes, how much time we got, because I want to talk Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, as much as you want. I have nothing else to say the rest of this episode, so you might as well take advantage.
Beautiful movie. It is. I watch that movie multiple times every year. I could start probably at line 1 and just go through the whole thing right now, all the way to play ball.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful movie. I mean, I like to do the thing with my kids and wife where I start singing Deck the Halls, and then I say, take it, kids. Fa la 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 la. Like I think that's probably actually my favorite part of the whole movie.
That's funny.
I laugh at it like I'm just seeing it for the first time every time.
Exactly.
We have a tradition where the kids go to bed on Christmas Eve, and Sherry and I will get a big Lifetime plastic table in our, set it up in our living room, and wrap all the presents, and we watch Christmas Vacation. And seriously, man, I laugh like it's the first time I'm seeing it, and we watch it. And then, so once, if the presents still aren't done and the movie's over, then we start White Christmas, the Bing Crosby movie. Mm-hmm. And I think we did Holiday Inn, the other old classic kind of movie. But yeah, that's a go-to.
Man.
There's so many bits in it that if you're just writing down some of the underrated moments that are hilarious, like the sap when they're going through the magazine in bed.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, it's all nonverbal. It's just this,
some of the genius of Chevy Chase, man.
Beverly D'Angelo knows when to just reach over and grab it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just some bits in there that are so good that aren't the obvious Cousin Eddie,
right?
Which I love those too. Don't get me wrong. But
where's the Tylenol?
Yeah.
When he breaks the little wooden that's another one of those, like, there's nothing overt in that scene really. But when he breaks that, he just taps it and it all falls apart.
The fact that he's wearing like a semi-translucent sweater with a dickie
with
underneath,
a dickie underneath.
like that.
Yeah. And there's some of the really obvious lines. I can't even say it. I mean, there's a bunch. It's such a great movie. And there is room for other ones for me, but there's some more dramatic or cute, like more recent. The Holiday is one. That's a nice romantic comedy, whatever. Elf became an instant classic.
Elf
for
is my
Christmas.
wife's favorite. Like her and her mom, like it's a bonding experience for them to watch that together.
Home Alone was a big one for me. Then you've got A Christmas Story that's on for 6 days straight on cable every year. They might have finally burnt people out on that movie.
I think so. I hope.
It only took 12 years of 6 days straight, 24 hours a day for TBS to finally go, you guys done? Or
sorry, Billingsley.
You want to watch it a few more times, which a lot of people don't realize that he is the head of the Tinker Shop in Elf.
Okay.
When you're watching Elf, the one that sort of consoles Buddy for not making toys fast enough.
Yeah, he and Favreau are friends.
That's Ralphie, yeah.
Peter Billingsley.
Am I missing any other major Christmas movies? Miracle on 34th Street.
Mm-hmm. Die Hard.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, yeah. Love Actually. That's one for adults.
Is that a Christmas movie?
Love Actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Ish. Christmas-ish.
You got Rudolph and Frosty.
All the animated ones. But yeah, Christmas Vacation is the definitive. You could maybe argue Home Alone as up there as one of the most popular, and Elf. But
I'm sure there's a ton we're missing that people are shouting at their
Grinch, and yeah.
So the new animated Grinch, by the way, is really cute. Illumination Studios did that one. It's a really underrated, fun family movie. It's CGI, but the new animated Grinch is super cute. We laughed really hard at that one.
I'm going to look and see if it's on anything.
There's a lot of well-known voice actors in it, and some of the music is provided by Pentatonics, and yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I've not seen that one either.
If we missed your Christmas favorite,
your kids would love it.
If we missed your Christmas favorite, just chime in on social media.
Yeah, start a list on Facebook of all your favorite Christmas movies.
Or since the right answer is Christmas Vacation, just share your favorite memes and quotes from that one.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to look up The Grinch. When was that made? The new one?
It's in the last couple of years.
Okay. I'm going to see if it's streaming on anything. No other favorites? I mean, Frozen for anybody that thinks those are Christmassy.
We watched Frozen 2. So this is a week behind, but we watched Frozen 2 on opening night. That was really good.
Yeah. I have not seen Frozen 1.
Yeah.
Is it really different, or is it like, is somebody safe if they say, yeah, it's mostly the same movie?
I had a lot more fun watching the second one than I did I always struggle with that argument because it's like the first is what made it popular. So you can't say, was it better than the first? Well, the first is the reason you like the franchise anyways. So, but it was just really cute. We laughed a lot. The music is great. I had no critiques about it. I was like, it's just a really solid sequel. I think they do a great job, but I think people are starting to clue into the fact that you and I are Disney apologists. So,
That's fair.
so, but even with the critical, eye of it being a sequel, I couldn't shoot many holes in it. I thought it was really well done.
For those curious, Dr. Seuss's The Grinch from 2018 apparently is now streaming on Netflix.
It is Illumination, right? Same people that brought us
I'm pulling it up now.
Minions.
I didn't mean to actually be queuing up the movie itself, but so I'll check that one out. Yes, it is Illumination.
Yeah.
No other favorite Christmas? Did we cover all the best?
We always do these lists live, and then the minute I hear it, I'm like, oh, I would have named these 6 movies when I hear it later. Yeah.
Well, feel free to Google search. This is dead air. Doesn't matter. These people will listen to anything. And I mean that in the nicest way.
Love you guys.
Oh, man.
Do you guys have you ever done any big Christmas vacations or themed, not like Christmas Vacation, the movie, like gone to a place around Christmas to experience like Paris or New York, or we went to Chicago one time in late December.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. We were fortunate enough to be with somebody who could do a limo one of the nights. And we went and got pizza. And
we saw Grease. Or not Grease, I'm sorry, Hairspray.
Hairspray, yeah. And so it was really cool, walking down, through downtown Chicago and then taking the limo and getting to do some of that stuff. And obviously, the obvious allure of something like that is all the lights everywhere and it's very pretty. But
I was at the Hershey Lodge once around Christmas time, and that place is really beautiful.
That's a good call out, because I was there, and I don't think that's something that most people not outside of that region of Pennsylvania think about at all. But it was a really nice experience.
Yeah.
As thoughtful as they could make a hotel and gift shop and themed food places around it and all of that, it was really...
Because you can't really do the theme park because it's winter, but that you can still tour the factory, the Hershey factory. But yeah, it feels like a big cozy lodge and log cabin-y kind of feel, and you can get a 5-pound Hershey bar.
Oh yeah, and they have like the Hershey's hot cocoa in your room, like it's there, instead of the normal coffee or whatever. And so, yeah, I thought it was really sweet.
No pun intended.
No, we always, growing up, Christmas was always at home. It was never not at home. In the morning, just the 5 of us. We never even had anybody over for Christmas. Thanksgiving, we sometimes would travel. Easter, we sometimes would travel or have people over. Christmas was kind of reserved for just the family. And now these days, I think we've done the same thing every year since we've had kids, which is we do Christmas morning by ourselves in our own home, and then we travel to grandparents' house.
Yeah.
After that, and spend most of the rest of the day.
I think it was good to dabble in the Christmas topic a little, but we should save a little bit more.
Yeah.
As we get closer, because everyone's going to be a little excited about Christmas coming right off of Thanksgiving, but then we don't want to burn you out talking about it. So we'll revisit as we get closer, maybe.
Sure will.
Some favorite childhood memories and toys, and I think some of that's fun to talk about.
You know what's happening this week? In Ohio, it's Gun Week.
Oh.
It's the 1 week every year where you're allowed to shoot deer with a gun or rifle. From late September into February, you otherwise have to hunt deer with a bow. But this week, and this week alone, and then there's 2 days later, that's muzzleloader. But anyway, so that's what I'll be doing. I'll be in the woods as much as possible. I think Brad, who we had on for an episode, is going to join me. We're going to go to our grandpa's place in Northwest Ohio and try to harvest, which is a nice word for murder, a deer. White-tailed deer, because they're delicious.
Mm-hmm. I do like some sausage that you get.
Oh, yeah, the summer sausage.
It's good. That's real good. Are you a hunter, Kendall?
I'm not a hunter.
No.
But, that doesn't mean I'm opposed to killing things.
A bit of the Christmas spirit.
It's been a few seasons since I've gotten a deer. So what they call it, when you don't get a deer that season, is you get a deer tag sandwich, which means you have the paper and you have to eat the paper.
Oh yeah, I see. That's clever.
Yeah, because you didn't get any deer. So hopefully things change this week. The week that is this week and not next week.
Yep, exactly.
Hopefully, things pan out. But you never know. But it's always fun to be out in nature. I really, honestly, a lot of guys say this. I really don't care. I just truly like being out in nature, and it's something about it's your grandpa's woods. It's where I grew up, So
sure,
I spent a lot of time in that woods.
Yeah, no, I see the appeal. I think I might like to go, but I don't know. It's never been high on my list. To learn how to hunt.
The weather should suck, like 9 degrees and 20-something mile-an-hour winds.
Cool.
Yep. So that's going to be enjoyable. But you go and you can go. You can't control the weather. It's part of the thing. So maybe we'll have some stories after that week is over. I hope to get up a couple times. Lily, my oldest, wants to go. Her friend, and one of my buddies, Drew, who I think we need to have as a guest at some point, his daughter, Addie, got a little button buck meaning little short antlers, young buck.
Okay.
She got one during youth week, or youth weekend. They have a couple days where under a certain age they're allowed to hunt. And so she got one, and Lily's like, I want to do it too. I'm like, you need to think really long and hard about whether or not you're ready to take the life of an animal, because she loves animals.
Sure.
And with that comes, a lot of responsibility, and that can be a traumatic experience if you're not ready for it. And so I just want to make sure she's ready. Mm-hmm. But she likes joining me in the blind, and it's good father-daughter time, and trying to get her to stay quiet. And
yeah.
But, it's exciting. You go out when it's dark and you can barely see your own hand in front of you, and you try to find your little spot in the woods and then hunker down and just hope for some activity. So yeah, it's a good little tradition that I remember doing with my dad when I was young, and it's a good time. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted.
Sounds good.
So that's Gun Week.
Now, we talked a little bit in episode 28 about, we hinted around kind of big picture Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And we talked a decent amount about The Mandalorian.
Yes.
But there is surprisingly more on Disney Plus than just The Mandalorian.
What?
I know. Crazy. So I thought one other thing, at least I wanted to share, and I called this out a while back, actually before Disney Plus had launched, as what I thought would be a great series called The Imagineering Story. And turns out it is fantastic. And if you're into documentary stuff at all, you should check it out for sure, especially if you're into the world of Disney even a little bit. So the analogy I've used for a long time with like the best documentary is, it's not an analogy, I shouldn't say that. When I watch the Lord of the Rings films and then watch the behind the scenes, they have one of the best documentaries, like behind the scenes documentaries I've ever seen. In fact, I've said many times it might be as good as the movies themselves.
Sort of the making of and the story of Weta Workshop and the creative minds behind Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. From all of it, making the costumes, the armor, the miniatures to set up the scale of all of it, and the makeup, and literally, like you said, all the behind the scenes. And that's really how good the Imagineering Story has been so far. But there's more of a story element to it, at least through the first several episodes. You sort of got the beginning of Disney with Walt Disney, and then you get into kind of different eras after his passing and what that looked like, because these people are like, these aren't the normal park employees. These are engineers that they call Imagineers that are like, how do we build Space Mountain? And how do the physics and the actual ride and all the animatronics. And this is some of the most intense stuff that's happening in the park and being built. These people are the behind the scenes, and it's incredibly interesting. especially as they tell this story through the eras. And we talked about on episode 28 how a lot of the Disney Plus content is episodic. It's not, here's a whole season, check it out. And that's where we are now. So I think we're through 4 episodes or something like that of the Imagineering story. But it's incredible the amount of, you don't realize how much they're leveraging technology out ahead of what's happening in society decade by decade. And they're doing some really, really interesting stuff, talking about the introduction of some of the first non-Disney IPs into Disney World, like Star Tours, the Star Wars ride, and then starting to do stuff with MGM and starting to do stuff with the Muppets before they owned all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's funny to kind of see them painting this picture across, you know, what their work looked like, and through good and bad times. You know, some of the people that, you know, were basically downsizing most of the Imagineer force up through Michael Eisner and, you know, some of the folks that really expanded it. It's very, very good. I don't know if anybody else is watching it, but if you are and you like behind the scenes documentary making of type stuff, it's really, really interesting how even the parts of the park are broken down to do different things, but they'd have to update certain elements because, you know, the Land of Tomorrow or Tomorrowland or whatever isn't going to look like Tomorrowland forever.
Right.
And how they would take, you know, Frontierland and add in an Indiana Jones thing, but then really they added all this new, this whole new piece to Frontierland that wasn't there before, but only by putting the entrance to the ride at the edge of a walkway and hiding all the rest of the ride. So you could, I mean, it's just super, super interesting if you're into that kind of stuff at all. So I've said the same thing multiple times, but I'm really just blown away by how fascinating the story is of just those people that work there. And there's other shows still coming that are going to be more like telling the story of a, you know, kind of a day in the life of type thing. But because this is about the Imagineers, I've found it quite fascinating. So check it out if you haven't watched it already. That's a nice plug for something else on Disney Plus for those folks.
And I know you're a big Jeff Goldblum fan.
Yeah.
Have you watched The World According to Jeff Goldblum?
I've watched a little bit. So the very first episode, it's this just shoes, this whole phenomenon around streetwear. And it's interesting because it's a little bit how it's made and the story behind, but why is it popular now? And then his view on things. I'm not fully caught up on those episodes, but it's just like you'd expect. He's kind of curious and a little odd, and
He's Jeff Goldblum.
He doesn't always interact. You know, there's sort of normal cadences to conversations, right? So I'd say, "Hey, how are you? Good. How are you? How's your day going? Great. How's your day going?" You know, there's sort of a normal conversational flow, and he just doesn't do that. He doesn't feel the need to do that.
I love the guy.
I do too. I think my wife's like, he's so weird. And I'm like, that's kind of why I love it though.
Remember when we were talking about caricatures of people? Like
yes.
People who are walking caricatures?
Yes.
Yep.
That
I want to experience having a discussion with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling that also like Jeff Goldblum is one of those people where if you have a discussion with him about anything, you will walk away feeling very good about yourself because he's good at that. He's good at like you can tell he's like everybody he talks to, he's playing them up and making them feel good about themselves. Like I don't know, I appreciate that about him. For sure.
And even though what's odd to me is that even though it feels like a shtick, like the whole thing is a play, he somehow finds a way to make it all feel genuine.
Yeah.
Like this is just him. He's just the caricature.
Yeah.
He's not playing the caricature for the TV.
Yeah.
Or for the cameras or whatever. And so, yeah, if you're into his type, like we talked about a couple episodes back, the Hot Ones episode with him in it. And yeah, I went back and watched it. And it was a little weird.
I shared it from our Facebook page. And yeah, he's quirky.
Yeah, but
love him.
Even the thing, I think you'd made the comment about people calling him daddy or something.
Yeah.
How he likes it. But he's just sort of like, he gets put into that position to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because he's being interviewed and they ask and they bring that up and he's like, oh, I kind of like it. You know, and because what else are you supposed to say if somebody was like, so people on social media call you daddy, how do you feel about it? You know, the only thing you can do is kind of have a little fun with it. And so without being a total weirdo. And so I don't know. I like his whole thing. His whole brand is just amusing. And I'm like you, Kendall. I would love to just sit and have a conversation with Jeff Goldblum. Not many people would put me on my heels, but I'm sure I would just feel like I don't know that I even know how to interact with you.
You can't be real.
But
you cannot be real.
I'm loving every minute of it, kind of thing.
Oh, there's a lot of good content on there, and it's cool now to like introduce my kids to some of the cartoons I grew up on. So like Tailspin is like one example.
Darkwing
Duck, like DuckTales, like all that stuff. It's so cool to share that with them. And then you're flashing back to like, oh man, I remember that exact episode, or the theme songs, especially in the introductions to it. What's the Marvel show that's going to follow sort of like unique young heroes?
The Hero Project?
The Hero Project. Yeah, I really don't know the whole context of this, but it's turning real kids into heroes.
Here's the description from Disney Plus. An unscripted series that shares the positive impact several young real-life heroes are making in their own communities across the country. These extraordinary, inspiring kids have dedicated their lives to a variety of remarkable efforts, and now Marvel celebrates them as the true superheroes they are.
Yeah.
Immortalized in their very own comic book as they join Marvel's Hero Project.
Yeah. So that seems worth a watch. I want to check that out.
Is that the thing? Like, who's doing that? There's a can't remember the dude's name. Is that the guy who? No one's gonna know the answer to this. The guy who played Murdoch on MacGyver. He did some comic booky kind of stuff, and I knew that he was having a project, and I'm just kind of curious if this is him.
I don't know.
So chime in.
Yeah.
If any other MacGyver fans out there.
Yeah.
The guy who played the arch nemesis, Murdoch.
Yeah, I thought
does he have anything to do with this new Marvel situation?
Pop-up video reference was old from before, but here we are.
It's all relative, because when we said Christmas movies, I'm sure that like people older than us were going, "What? Christmas Vacation? You kids?
That stupid Chevy Chase?"
Okay, boomer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
ding, 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 ding.
I thought you were going to start. You had brought up when you started to say Marvel series, the What If, the animated series. Have you seen?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the ramp up to that?
No.
You're gonna love the animation style. So I can't wait for you to just watch the trailer, and then I want you to weigh in on what you think that's going to be like, because this is teasing things like Steve Rogers never got the serum but is wearing the Iron Man suit, and Peggy Carter becomes Captain Britain. And they're going to do all these, like, basically if they take all the major movies that they've made and there's some critical twist in what did or did not
could have
happen.
happened, yeah.
But it's all animated in a way that's very attractive looking. And so you'll be able to speak more to that and what that looks like. But that What If series looks good.
How much TV do you watch, Dylan?
You'd think a lot. Very, very little. But thank you for asking.
I'm over here going, there's a lot I want to catch. I'm trying to still get caught up with WWE.
Yeah, you should be talking to the guy that watches 3 nights of wrestling a week and asking him that question. No, because I'm lucky if I can get in the newest episode of The Mandalorian, The End. And then I have enough time to watch quick trailers to things on like YouTube or whatever.
Okay. All right. No, I'm just, and also I think like you remember everything that you see.
Yeah,
that's
also
true.
part of it.
I'm good at remembering the things that I care about.
Yeah. I'd have to watch it like 20 times to remember that kind of detail.
That is true.
And then to be able to like recall it quickly enough to put it in a conversation.
Well, you're welcome.
I can't remember actors and actresses' names for the most part, save for a few. So
you are a true student of entertainment, though.
You are.
You like to you really absorb it, and it looks cel shaded kind of. We're looking at stills of What If, Marvel's What If. How long has this episode been?
I don't know. Whatever. It's whatever.
How's your diet fresca?
My diet fresca.
It's good.
It's cold. It's cold. Awesome. Anybody? Have you guys listened to the You Betcha podcast?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Here's a little shout out.
Oh, that's cold.
So a guy I know is in a band that was just featured in Billboard magazine.
Okay.
They're
Wow.
I think out of Cleveland originally,
Okay.
but they're in Columbus now. 90s Kids. So if you want to give them a shout out,
The band is called 90s
90s
Kids.
I think we just did.
There you go.
Yeah, so I work with them. It was kind of cool. We were taking a look at like the Billboard write up on their band,
Nice.
and local Columbus group. So
Right on.
if you want something new to check out, I work with I forget what instrument he plays, but
Piccolo.
probably yeah.
Piccolo or the bassoon.
Turns out I typically listen to bands. I don't watch them, so
You're right.
don't always remember what they play.
Yeah.
but yeah. So that's kind of cool when there's somebody you show up to work with every day that is
cool.
featured in Billboard.
Cover stuff, original stuff.
No, dive in. I don't know enough.
Right on.
Just check it out if you want something new to listen to.
Okay.
So, but that's kind of fun. I don't know. I have never known anyone personally to like have a huge music career. I mean, our mom did for a while in the Christian music scene.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's in this area. What's the 21 Pilots?
Yep.
21 Pilots.
There's quite a few people that seem to have known them for a long time. I was not in on that whole trend. I mean, I've heard one or two of their songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a promising local band.
They're doing okay right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check out 90s Kids.
I wonder if it's indicative of their music. Like, is it a little throwbacky and 90-esque? Or
Or are they playing some Sum 41 classics?
like In Too Deep, among other hits. I'll check them out. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, maybe we can share the article. Here it is here. You can check it out if you want.
We'll share
We'll
it.
share it around here locally and give them a little nod.
Which is a great segue into the fact that if you're not, we post a lot like of stuff that we talk about on the show. We post a lot of it on Facebook, so you can see and experience and watch and get links to the articles and videos of things that we talk about on the show. So it's almost like another layer of connection beyond just the audio and video. You can do little deep dives on the little subcultures and fandoms that we get into.
Yeah, and I really like that we do that because I think it would be easy for us to talk about a lot of the things we talk about. And if you're listening, and I even find this, I'm sometimes too busy to go and look up the things. I just don't think about going back to look up the things that we've talked about.
Right.
But then when we share it and it sort of refreshes it on social media, I go, oh yeah, I did want to watch that thing or listen to that thing. I always enjoy that. So we'll give them a little share in online, and you can check that out. And hopefully you guys continue to enjoy that content. A lot of it's funny.
Interact with that stuff. Let's make a little community. That's a lot of some of the funnest stuff is I'm Porky Pig in my sentences over here. Yeah, but
So follow us at From the Mid Pod on Facebook, Instagram, all the others, where we post these things that we're talking about. The Jeff Goldblum episode where he's on Hot Ones, and the photos of weird looking kangaroos and shaved bears, and all of the other things.
Still terrifying.
yeah.
We get a lot of. It's funny to see which things attract the most attention, and like people comment on and share.
Yeah.
It's just funny to see, like, stuff that I think is super interesting, nobody watches.
Yeah.
And then the stuff
Story of my
that
life.
seems trivial or like just a silly little flippant thing will garner a lot of response and traction from the middlers out there. So
I think at least we've been around social media long enough that like we've experienced that. Like this, you post a really thoughtful thing,
Yeah.
or you share a really interesting thing, and literally it's one like, and then you post the dumbest stuff, and 47 people comment on it, and you're like, I'm tired and I'm done. I can't. No one's making the world better from their social media posts, but a couple more likes would be nice. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like, comment, subscribe, share.
That wasn't even a plug, but that was a really nice
All of the
transition.
things. We need your
Good
help.
night.
We need your help.
Yeah.
We are learning and growing from what works well and what doesn't work well, and we are trying to bring on interesting guests and have thoughtful discussions sometimes. And but we need your help, because in the podcasting world, that's the only way that we get traction. So subscribe, comment, like, share, all of the things.
Indeed. This episode has been, as we mentioned, all killer.
I think we owned a long time ago.
Yeah, that they're not.
They're not all winners.
They're not, sometimes we're having a little more fun reactively interacting with each other than we are proactively on certain topics.
So share all of the episodes except for this one.
Yeah.
And we're sorry. But thank you, but also we're sorry. Thanks, Backroom. Believe in us.
No regrets.
No regrets.
That's funny. Well, I'm good.
Yep.
Man, I wish we had a flow chart for the.
Yeah. Maybe next time. We'll talk more about Christmas movies again. The same ones. Not new ones.
Yeah.
The same ones.
All right, guys. This has been From the Middle. Oh, wait. Here's a great idea.